Hi, I'm Sean Gannon, and this is Minute Math, and today we're learning about multi-step equations, and we're going to solve each equation. Now, if I was given this equation.
Minute Math, when you need help you use Minute Math.
6a plus 5a equals negative 11. First thing I want to do is combine my like terms. 6a and 5a come together to be 11a, and that equals the negative 11 on the right. Now I divide both sides by 11, giving me a by itself, right? The 11's cancel. And negative 11 divided by 11 is a negative 1. And so our final answer here is just a equals a negative 1. Negative 6n minus 2n equals 16. First thing I want to do is combine my like terms. Negative 6n minus 2n comes out to be a negative 8n. Remember, subtracting is the same thing as adding a negative. So negative 8n equals 16. Multiplication between negative 8 and n, so if we do the opposite, division, we'll get n by itself. The 8's will cancel. 16 divided by negative 8 is a negative 2, and there we have our final answer. 4x plus 6 plus 3 equals 17. First thing I want to do is combine 6 and 3. So we have 4x here plus 6 and 3, which is 9. That equals 17. Now if I subtract a 9 to both sides, the 9's cancel on the left, giving me 4x by itself. 17 minus 9 is an 8. So now we have 4x equals 8. 4 times x, opposite multiplication is division. Divide both sides by 4. And I'm left with x by itself, right, the 4's cancel, equal to 8 divided by 4, which is 2. Our final answer. 0 equals negative 5n minus 2n. Alright? Well, I want to combine my like terms. On the right-hand side, negative 5n minus 2n is a negative 7n. 0 stays on the left. Divide both sides by negative 7 here. And 0 divided by negative 7 is still 0. 7's cancel, and we have n by itself. We can rewrite this to have n come first, so we have n equals 0, and there we have our final answer. 6r minus 1 plus 6r equals 11. First thing I want to do here, alright, I want to combine my like terms and bring them to the right side. So if I add a 1 to both sides, right, the 1's cancel over here, and we're left with 6r plus 6r, which is 12r, right? And 11 plus 1 is 12. Now, I divide both sides by 12, giving me r by itself, and 12 divided by 12 is 1. Remember, a number divided by itself is 1. r plus 11 plus 8r equals 29. Well, first thing I want to do here is I'm going to actually subtract 11 to both sides. 11 cancels on the left, and on the right, 29 minus 11 is 18. Now, r plus 8r, we can add those two together, and we're left with 9r, right? So we have a 9r here equals 18. Now, I divide both sides by 9 to get r by itself, and 18 divided by 9 is 2. And so our final answer here is r equals 2. Negative 10 equals a negative 14v plus 14v. Alright? Well, let's go combine our like terms. On the left, negative 10's by itself. And the right, well, negative 14v plus 14v is just 0. Now, if you're looking at this and you're a little confused, how does negative 10 equal 0? Well, you should be a little confused, right? It doesn't make sense. When this happens, sometimes we're solving an equation. When this happens and you get a non-true statement, negative 10 cannot equal 0, we have what's called a no solution. Meaning, there are no solutions that will work and that make this equation true. Negative 10p plus 9p equals 12. Well, first thing, let's combine our like terms. Negative 10p plus 9p is a negative 1p, and that equals 12, all right? Well, we want to get rid of that negative, so if I divide both sides by -1, I'll get a positive p by itself, right? Negative divided by negative is a positive. 12 divided by -1 is a -12. And so our final answer here is p equals a -12. 42 equals 8m plus 13m. I want to combine my like terms. On the left, there's nothing. 42 is by itself. But on the right, 8m plus 13m is a 21m. Now we have 21 times m, so if I divide both sides by 21, I will get m by itself. M by itself here, 21's cancel, and 42 divided by 21 is a 2. I can rewrite this that m comes first, so m equals 2, and there we have our final answer. A minus 2 plus 3 equals a -2. I want to combine my like terms here. So a is by itself on the left, but then -2 plus a 3 is a +1. So we go plus 1 right here. That equals -2. Now when I subtract 1 on both sides, I'm left with a by itself. And -2 minus 1 is a -3. And so our final answer here is just a equals a -3. 18 equal to 3 times 3x minus 6. Well, what I want to do here is first I'm going to distribute the 3 to both parts of that parenthesis. 18 equals 3 times 3x is a 9x. And then 3 times 6 is 18, so we're subtracting an 18 here. All right. Now my next step is, well, if I subtract 18, I'm going to add an 18 to both sides. This helps get x by itself, so it gives me 9x on the right. Remember, 18's cancel. And 18 plus 18 is a 36. I then divide both sides by 9, giving me x by itself. And 36 divided by 9 is 4. I can rewrite this that x comes first, so x equals 4 is our final answer. 30 equals -5 times 6n plus 6. All right. The first thing I do here, in this case, I'm just going to divide both sides by -5. Remember, multiplication is going on here. If I divide both sides by -5, on the right, I'm left with what's in the parenthesis, just 6n plus 6. On the left, 30 divided by -5 is a -6. So now to get n by itself, I subtract a 6 to both sides, and I'm left with 6n on the right, because 6 is canceled there. And -6 minus 6, be careful, is a -12. Divide both sides by 6, and I have n by itself, and -12 divided by 6 is a -2. I can rewrite this if n comes first, so n equals -2 is my final answer. 37 equals a -3 plus 5 times x plus 6. First thing I'm going to do here is I'm going to actually add a 3 to both sides. When I add a 3 to both sides, 37 plus 3 is a 40. Now that equals, well, I can distribute now the 5 to both parts there, and 5 times x is 5x, and 5 times 6 is 30. So when I get x by itself, subtract both sides by 30, and now I'm left with, well, on the left-hand side, 40 minus 30 is 10, and 5x just on the right. Divide both sides by 5, that gives me x by itself. 5 will cancel, right? And 10 divided by 5 is a 2. I can rewrite this to x come first, so x equals 2, and there we have our final answer. -13 equals 5 times 1 plus 4m minus 2m. First thing I want to do is distribute the 5 into that parenthesis there. So we have -13 equals 5 times 1 is 5, and 5 times 4m is a 20m. Bring down the -2m. From there, we want to combine our like terms, right? So if I subtract a 5 to the left, right, bring it over, we're left with -13 minus 5 is a -18. We can combine 20m and -2m to be 18m. Now, if I divide both sides by 18, m becomes by itself, and -18 divided by +18 is a -1. Rewrite this to have m come first, so m equals -1. And there we have our final answer. 4 times a negative x plus 4 equals a positive 12. My first step here is I'm distributing the 4 into my parenthesis. 4 times negative x is a negative 4x. 4 times 4 is 16, and that equals now 12. To get x by itself, I would then subtract a 16 to both sides. 16's cancel, leave me 4x by itself on the left, and 12 minus 16 is a negative 4. Divide both sides by negative 4 now, and we're left with x by itself. Negative 4 divided by negative 4 is a positive 1. So our final answer here is x equals a positive 1. Negative 2 equals a negative n minus 8. And there we have it, in our parentheses now, n minus 8. First step is I'm actually going to divide both sides by a negative 1. What that does is it eliminates the negatives right there, giving me, and on the left-hand side too, right? Negative 2 divided by negative 1 is a positive 2. Positive 2 equals what was left in the parentheses, n minus 8. Now if I add an 8 to both sides, n is by itself on the right, 8's cancel, and 2 plus 8 is 10. Rewrite this to have n come first, so n equals 10, and there we have our final answer. Negative 6 times 1 minus 5v equals a 54. First thing, well, I have multiplication going on here, so I'm actually going to divide both sides by a negative 6. Negative 6's cancel, give me 1 minus 5v, what's in the parentheses left over. On the right, 54 divided by negative 6 is a negative 9. In my journey to get v by itself, I should subtract a 1 to both sides, giving me negative 5v by itself on the left, and negative 9 minus 1 is a negative 10. Divide both sides by negative 5, and we're left with v completely now by itself, and negative 10 divided by negative 5 is a positive 2. Final answer, v equals a positive 2. 8 equals 8v minus 4 times v plus 8. Alright? The first thing I do here is I'm actually going to distribute the negative 4 to both parts in the parentheses. So if 8 equals 8v, distribute the negative 4, right, the minus 4, so minus a 4v here, and then don't forget to bring the minus the next time around. Negative 4, right, 4 times 8 is 32, and then it's negative, so we have minus a 32 here. Don't forget that. Alright? Now we're going to combine our like terms, so I'm going to add a 32 to both sides. 8 plus 32 is 40. Alright, 32 is canceled there. Now 8v minus 4v is just 4v. I now can divide both sides by 4. Leave me v by itself. 40 divided by 4 is 10. Could rewrite this to have v come first, so v equals 10. And there we have our final answer. 10 times 1 plus 3b equals a negative 20. First thing I want to do here is I'm going to divide both sides by 10. Since we're being multiplied here by the parenthesis, if I divide both sides by 10, 10 is canceled, and I'm left with what's inside the parenthesis, 1 plus 3b. Negative 20 divided by 10 is a negative 2. Now it looks a lot more simple. Subtract 1 to both sides. 1's get eliminated there, and we have 3b equals negative 2 minus 1 is a negative 3. Divide both sides by 3. b is now by itself, and negative 3 divided by 3 is a negative 1. So our final answer is b equals a negative 1. Negative 5n minus 8 times 1 plus 7n equals a negative 8. First thing I'm going to do here is distribute that 8 or minus 8 to both parts in the parenthesis. Negative 5n. Now, negative 8 times 1 is a minus 8. 8 times 7 is a 56, but don't forget the subtraction sign, right? So we have a minus 56 in the variable n. And that equals negative 8. From there, we want to combine our like terms, so I'm going to add an 8 to both sides. Leaving me on the right, negative 8 plus 8 is 0. Negative 5n and negative 56n come out to be a negative 61n. Divide both sides by negative 61. and 61's cancel on the left, giving me n by itself. And 0 divided by 61 is, be careful, 0. Well, that's almost looks like a Hershey Kiss, but it's a 0. There we go, it's a 0. And so our final answer here is just n equals 0. 8 times 4k minus 4 equals a negative 5k minus 32. What I want to do is, well, I want to try to get k by itself. My first step in doing that is distributing the 8 in the parentheses. 8 times 4k is a 32k, and 8 times a minus 4 is a negative or minus, right, 32. And then we have negative 5k minus 32 on the right. Let's combine our like terms. So I'm going to add a 5k to both sides, and I'm going to add a 32 to both sides. The 32's cancel on the left, 5k's cancel on the right. And I'm left with now 32k plus 5k is 37k. Negative 32 plus positive 32 is 0. Divide both sides by 37. 37's cancel, and k is by itself now. And remember, 0 divided by anything is 0. So 0 divided by 37 is 0. And so our final answer here is k equals 0. Negative 8 times a negative 8x minus 6 equals a negative 6x minus 22. I want to get x by itself. My first step in doing so is distributing the negative 8 in the parentheses. Negative 8 times a negative 8 is a positive 64. Then don't forget the x. Negative 8 times, well, that's really a negative 6, right? Minus 6. That's going to be a positive 48. Remember, negative times a negative is a positive. And that equals negative 6x minus 22. Alright, I still want to get x by itself. So in doing that, I'm going to add a 6 to both sides, combine my like terms, and I'm going to subtract a 48 to both sides. The 6 x's will cancel on the right, and on the left, 48's will cancel. 64x plus 6 is a 70x, and negative 22 minus 48 is a negative 70. I divide 70 to both sides. This gives me x by itself on the left, and negative 70 divided by 70 is a negative 1. And so our final answer is x equals a negative 1. 8 times 1 plus 5x plus 5 equals 13 plus 5x. Alright, I want to get x by itself. First step in doing so, I distribute the 8 into the parentheses. 8 times 1 is 8, and 8 times a 5x is a 40x. Then we bring down the plus 5, and the 13 plus 5x. From there, I want to combine my like terms on each side, and 8 plus 5 are the like terms on the left. 8 plus 5 is 13, so we have 40x here, plus 13 now. And that equals 13 plus 5x. Alright, let's bring our variables now to the left. So subtract a 5x to both sides. And let's bring our numbers to the right. Subtract a 13 to both sides. X's cancel, 5x's cancel left, 13's cancel on the 5x's cancel on the right, 13's cancel on the left, and now I'm left with 40x minus 5x, which is a 35x, and 13 minus 13 is a 0. Divide both sides by 35 now. Remember, 0 divided by anything is 0, so x is by itself equal to 0. And there we have our final answer. Negative 11 minus 5a equals 6 times 5a plus 4. Alright, I want to get a by itself. First step in doing that is I distribute the 6 in the parentheses. So on the left-hand side, negative 11 minus 5a stays where it is. 6 times 5a is a 30a, and 6 times a 4 is 24. Now I want to bring my like terms together, so I'm going to actually add a 5a to both sides and subtract a 24. Bring my numbers to the left and my variables to the right. 5a's cancel on the left, 24's cancel on the right, and on the right I'm left with 30a plus 5a is 35a, And on the left, negative 11 minus 24 is a negative 35. Now I divide both sides by a positive 35. This will get a by itself on the right. And on the left, negative 35 divided by a positive 35 is a negative 1. We can rewrite this to have a come first, so a equals negative 1. And there we have our final answer. Negative 5 times 4x minus 2 equals a negative 2 times 3 plus 6x. First thing I want to do is I'm going to distribute my numbers into each parenthesis. Negative 5 times 4x is a negative 20x. Negative 5 times now is a minus 2, right? Negative times a negative is a positive, so we have positive 10 there. 5 times 2 is 10. Same thing with the negative 2. Negative 2 times 3 is a negative 6, and negative 2 times a positive 6x is plus a negative 12x, a negative 12x, all right? Well, I want to combine my like terms, so let's bring our variables to the left, numbers to the right. Opposite of minus 12x is addition, so add in 12x, right? We add that to both sides. If I subtracted 10 to both sides, what happens here is 10's get eliminated on the left, and the variables of negative 12x get eliminated on the right. On the left, negative 20x plus 12x is a negative 8x. Negative 6 minus 10 is a negative 16. Now I want to get x by itself still, so I divide both sides by negative 8. Negative 8's cancel. X is now by itself on the left, and negative 16 divided by negative 8 is a positive 2. Our final answer, positive 2. 5 times 2x plus 6 equals to negative 4 times negative 5 minus 2x, and I have plus a 3x on the right. Again, my goal is to get x by itself. First step, I'm going to distribute the 5 into the first parenthesis. 5 times 2x is a 10x, and 5 times 6 is a 30. We're going to do the same thing with the negative 4. Negative 4 times a negative 5 is a positive 20, and negative 4 times a negative 2x is a positive 8x. And then we bring down the 3x. Let's combine our like terms on each side. Well, on the left, nothing to combine, so we have 10x plus 30. On the right, we can combine the x's, so we have 20 here plus 8x plus 3x is 11x. Now let's get our variables together. We subtract 11x to both sides, and let's get our numbers together. We subtract 30 to both sides. So the variables to the left, numbers to the right, we're combining our like terms. 11x cancels on the right, and 30's cancel on the left. 10x minus 11x is a negative x. And on the right, 20 minus 30 is a negative 10. Now I still want to get x by itself. There's a negative there, so if I divide both sides by a negative 1, the negatives cancel, giving me a positive x by itself on the left, and negative 10 divided by negative 1 is a positive 10. And so our final answer here is x equals a positive 10.
Minute math, when you need help you use Minute Math. Minute math, when you need help you use Minute Math. MinuteMathTutor.com.